university for me. UNA, paradise, all your life, university, all your dreams, land is home, on your own, every day, long, long way, university for me.
Welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. Yours truly, Diva Lyri in the house representing. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Diva Lyri representing for UNA Republic and UNA University. Welcome. Yes, 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 yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody, welcome everybody, welcome everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing for UNA University and UNA Republic, where we help you find your social freedom, financial freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. Let's go. Welcome everybody. All my people in TikTok, hello. All my people in YouTube, hello. All my people in X, what up? Okay, we're ready to get to this today. We got a show, a session for you today, and I'm going to take my time. This is going to be a long session. Get your popcorn, get your food, get your salads, get everything together because we get ready to go through this, dealing with Morocco, all right? You see the title. You see what the title is? I hope you see it because I can't. Okay, but the bottom line is we're going through this whole thing, debunking some things about Morocco. And I've had a lot of people to come into my comment section, and I got to address some things and help you to understand why I'm saying these things when I say that North America is not Morocco and why it is a legal degradation for you to continue to say this. I need you to understand everything that's going on with this game, what's going on behind the scenes, what's legally happening, so that you will understand why I'm saying this, okay? Now, there's a lot of people out here calling themselves Moors. I get it. You upset because your religion is being shaken. The foundation of everything you thought. Somebody told you you was a Moor. Be proud and be brown, whatever they told you to say as a Moor. They want you to use that title. Well, I'm ready to break it down today. All right, we're going into it in detail. I'm taking my time because this is a serious topic, and the people who are calling themselves these things and calling this land another term, you are the only one who has the right to give it that title. And when you do, you don't understand that you're giving it over to somebody who you've been trying to get away from your whole life. Okay, so stay tuned because we're going into it. You can see I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jump in, but I got to get some stuff straight. I want to first of all say hello to my peoples in YouTube and TikTok. Balance greetings. Let me see. All my people in TikTok, welcome. All my people in YouTube and X, welcome. Okay, so we're streaming live on YouTube, TikTok, and X. Okay, I'm ready to go through this thing. And I want to, give me 1 second. Let me make sure we're up good over here on these other platforms. One moment. Okay, and we're ready to go. So before I get into that, Mr. Benz Shar S, welcome. All right, now for those of y'all who are interested in the membership trust package, okay, find us at unauniversity.com. Okay, my people on TikTok and X, name, number, email, name, number, email, name, number, email. Leave that in the inbox, and we're going to invite you to our workshop. Okay, name, number, email. With this membership package, okay, it comes with all of your documents you need for your trust. Okay, every document that you need for your trust. It also comes with a membership badge. It comes with an allodial ID. If you'll see this QR code here, when you scan it, you will always have access to your trust documents, because not only do we put them on record with the county, we put them on record with UNA. So you're always going to be able to scan this. If you need to get your documents quickly, you need access to them, you're going to have a copy of your certified documents here. This is a very powerful package. We encourage you to get it before the price goes up, because it's about to go up. Membership trust package. If you want more information, go to UNA University, or you can find us. All right, so leave a name, number, and email in the inbox. We're going to invite you to our workshop. Okay, this is our beginner law book. Inside of this beginner law book, you're going to have the hierarchy of laws. You have the universal laws, the vibratory frequency chart, and all of these are in the book. Now, if you get the physical copy, we're going to give you additional copies. Why? Because we want you to put these up on your walls, on your mirrors, on your refrigerator, because we want you to allow these laws to become a part of you. All right. Also, we have, if you get the physical copy, you're going to get the civilization cycle and the societal totem pole. They're very important in understanding how everything is a cycle in this dimension. It's a cycle, and if you understand the cycles, you know where to put yourself so that you're on top. All right, now also inside of this book, you got all of the maxims of law. All right, you got more information on what law is and contract laws, explaining several things. Tabitha, welcome. All right, so we want you, again, if you want to get this book, find us at UNA University. All right, go ahead and scroll down, and you can get your copy, whether it be an ebook copy or a physical copy. Let's get started in learning law. Now, today's topic, debunking Moorish lies. I know I'm ready to catch some heat. I know that. Hold on, what is going on? One moment. I must have kicked my stand. Hold on for 1 second. All right. I know I'm going to get some heat for this. Let me make sure I'm good up here. Sorry about that. I kicked my little camera. I don't want to kick camera. Okay. So at some point, all right, we've got to come to an understanding of what happened in history. And I'm going to break a lot of things down, but I will get a lot of so-called Moors coming at me, and they'll say things that have been said to them. So basically they're regurgitating what somebody told them. They don't take time to study. And one of the things, this is an MO of the so-called Moors. What they'll do is blast your channel or spam your channel with all the images and pictures that have nothing to do with the topic at hand. So two questions that we go into when we're dealing with this whole topic. One, okay, do you have any proof to show that North America ever belonged to Morocco? There is no such proof. They can't show it because it doesn't exist. And so then there's this, this whole notion that, oh, well, she's lying or she's not. No, listen, I'm ready to go through this. Number two, are we understanding who's who today? Because we get a lot of people talking about, well, they did this to our people. Them Europeans did. You don't even know the fact that the Moors were the original Europeans. Morocco, Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Those were the original Europeans. Why do you think there's a such thing as Indo-European? Well, what does that mean? Those are the Albion Europeans, because the original Europeans were melanated. So we got to go through some history today, and we got to go through some law today. And this is another thing that people, when you're studying and if you want to know the truth, let me be clear to you, because people ask me, well, how are you studying and what do you study? And okay, for me, I want documents that show the ancestors speaking. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Anything before the mid 1800s, because remember, the 1800s, the mid 1800s was called the period of Reconstruction. This is where they were rewriting history. I don't want to hear about somebody's synopsis of what happened before then. I don't want to hear you. I want to see either the legal documents or the scripture or the ancient I want to see it, because I want to see the ancestors speak. I don't want to hear you telling me about what your thoughts are, because people skew whatever information to whatever they want it to be. We're not skewing anything. We're going to hear the ancestors speak. Then that way we know what really happened, not because somebody said so. And let me keep this clear, make this clear too. People want to put more onto the title M-O-O-R, not M-U-U-R. Okay, we've broken that down, and I'm going to break it down again tonight because I got time today. But people want to tie that term M-O-O-R onto the original people of the land. And there's a problem with that, because once again, I told you, and I'm going to say this again, there were many different groups of melanated people in this land fighting over the land, and that fight is going on to this day. And some of y'all think, oh, well, they brown people and they with us and we them and they us, and but you're not understanding. The same way when you read the Bible and you see these two melanated groups, Egyptians and Israelites, one enslaving the other, those are two brown groups. That happened here in the Americas too. And it wasn't just two brown groups. I can name 4 different groups of brown people who were fighting over the land that we know of today as Americas, and it's still going on to this day. They look a little bit different, but spiritually, they the same people. So I needed to be made clear that a lot of lies are being told, and the original people, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to stop taking on titles. And if you're taking on the title more, then I understand spiritually you them. I get it. But if you know that you are a descendant of the original people of this land known as the Americas, then I advise you not to take that title. If you side with the mothers of this land, because that's whose name this land is in. This land is in the name of the original women. And you can see that when you get the Iroquois Confederacy. It's still to this day. The Iroquois Confederacy is still in effect to this day. And it says that the land is in the name of the mothers. So forget about the founding fathers. You better honor the mothers, the original mothers of this land. And if you don't do that, if you claiming more, you don't have no title to this land. I'm telling you. So let me go into this and make this clear about why I'm saying these things. Shanti, welcome. Greetings, family. So happy. Glad to have you, Shanti. Okay, let's get to this thing. All my people in TikTok, Shar and Sinsin and Tabitha, and all right, let's go. So I wanted to start off with, let's go into this, okay? I got to go into the history so that we understand what happened in antiquity and why for me, if I'm looking at this, I know that we are all mixed with some of everything, because everybody was sleeping with everybody, family members in here, Albions, original people of the land, Moors, Moroccans. And there was some Moors who weren't necessarily from Morocco. That's another story. Everybody was, even when we're talking about British, everybody was intertwined with everybody else. Okay. But that being said, let's understand that there was a group of original people in this land, and they were brown people. We've shown proof of that. We've shown images. We've shown documentation. All right. And then there came, of course, Britain was in here in the 1600s. We talked about the Virginia Company. Let me be clear. When I talk about Britain and the Queen of England and all of that in the 1600s, those were melanated people. They were amalgamated, meaning they had started to mate with Albions, but they were still melanated people. All royalty, whether you're talking about Dutches or French or all royalty, even British, originally was melanated. And so at that time, those melanated people coming into this land, your British or Brutish Moors, a lot of them were melanated, amalgamated because they started mating once again. Then you had Morocco in here. So you got the original people. You got these, what I call elite Moors. These are the ones who set up the United States of America. Why do I call them elite? And I need this to be made clear, because somebody asked us a question. He didn't even ask a question. There's no such thing as elite Moors. Well, let me break this down to you. An elite Moor were the people who had a high knowledge of law, not only law dealing with business and all that. No, law dealing with the esoteric cosmic laws of this dimension. They had a high knowledge. See, when you're talking about the elite today, what makes them elite is their knowledge, not necessarily the money. They got the money because they had the knowledge. They got the wealth and the riches and all that other stuff because they have the knowledge. They got the land. They got access to that because they have the knowledge. That's what makes them elite. So when we're talking about elite Moors, we're talking about some people who had a very serious high knowledge, not only of law dealing with business, but we're talking about law dealing with esoteric laws whereby they knew how to change a dimension. So he goes on to say to me, well, all Moors can do that. All Moors can apply knowledge. Dude, you cannot apply a knowledge that you don't have. So trust me, these so-called Moors today, they don't have that knowledge. That's why they're not elite. Otherwise, there wouldn't be no question or argument about whether they're from Morocco or not. No. These Moors who were in here, they had elite knowledge in how to establish governments. That's what made them elite. All right. So these are when I say elite Moors, I'm talking about those Moors who established and set up the United States of America Republic. You have to have an elite knowledge to know how to do those things, because the Moors today don't know how to do that. Otherwise, they would have done it. I know how to do it. I'm elite. So let's get into this thing. We understand there are 4 different groups of melanated people in this land fighting. We need to understand legal documentation that shows what was going on. I want to hear the ancestors speak. So I want to pull up this first document. We're going back to 1777, that time period where there was the Declaration of Independence. There was the Revolutionary War. And I want to go into this document. I'm pulling this up. Okay. When I say I want to hear the ancestors speak, let's see this on the screen. This is a document from 1786 written in the handwriting of one of the Indians. They call themselves Indians. For my people who don't like the term Indian, forgive me, I'm just giving you what they called themselves at this time. All right. So this was one of the Indians from the United Indian Nation at their Confederate Council. Now, you can find this document on our site at unarepublic.com/docs, DOCS, unarepublic.com/docs, DOCS. And as we look through here, now I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's 5 pages, but I'm going to read a little bit of it so that you can understand what's going on with these original people. These are the original people of the land. And listen, right here, you can see the names. Hurons, Delawasis, and I don't want to butcher them, but Shawanese, Ottawats, I think it said Chipperesas, Powhatans, I think that is, Tavichwis, Cherokees, and the Wabash Confederation. Those are the names of the original people of the land. And I need this to be made clear. By law, legally, the only people who have any right to make contracts concerning the land are the original people of the land. But what has happened in this document that it goes into is how these are the original people reaching out to the United States of America, trying to have a treaty of peace with them, but they're being ignored. At this time, you see right here where it says 1786, right there, December 1786. This is before George Washington. Pay attention now, because I know history gets boring and it goes over people's head, but I need y'all to pay attention. Because when you're not listening and paying attention, you miss important things about the history. This is the Continental Congress, quote unquote, Continental Congress time, where all of these presidents that came before George Washington, all these melanated presidents that came before George Washington, this is that time. So these are the Moors at this time running the United States of America. And these are the Indians that are reaching out to them to ask, can we have a peace treaty? Because at this time, these people were killing off the Indians and overrunning territories that had not been promised to them. So let's go into this. I'm going to read this document. I have to, and again, you can pull this down for yourself. So I like to make sure you know where to go so you can find this information. And it's not just you believing me. Don't believe a word I say. I'm showing you where it is. unarepublic.com/DOCS. Go and pull it down and read it for yourself. So it starts off the speech of the United Indians Nation at their Confederate Council near the mouth of Detroit River between 28th of November and 18th of December 1786. Presents the 5 nations: Hurons, Delawanis, Taiwanese, Ottawas, Chippewas, Putawanis, Twitchwees, and forgive me if I'm butchering, I know I'm butchering these names, but Cherokees and the Wabash Confederates, to the Congress of the United States of America, brethren of the United States of America. It is now more than 3 years since peace was made between the King of Britain and you. But we, the Indians, were disappointed finding ourselves not involved in that peace according to our expectations. I need to stop right there because I need you to understand what has happened. Okay, pay attention. Now I'm going into law so that you can understand what's really going on. At this time, those elite Moors had established the United States of America. And remember I said it's the United States of America Republic. What they have learned how to do, these elite Moors, they've learned how to get funding from the federal side. Okay, when we're talking about the federal, I don't want to go too deep in it because you got to come into the class so you can understand. Everything starts with the UPU. The UPU goes back to the Pope. All the funds come through the UPU. Who is the UPU, Diva? United Postal Union. That's the United States Post Office. They had to go through the UPU. UPU is over all of these countries. They pay everybody. That's where the money starts. So they found out how to get those funds through the UPU, these elite Moors. And so in doing so, now they can create this United States of America. But when you get funding from them, there are laws. All right. That's why this was a republic, because their whole thing was you come to the United States of America and you're not persecuted for whatever your religious beliefs are. And we don't deal with the duchess and the kings and the queens and all that. That was their whole thing. But in order to do that, people had to come under their umbrella. And what they did was they degraded the status of the so-called Indians. Instead of making them a higher status because this is their land, no, they degraded their status to black, Negro, and colored. Pay attention. Pay attention. People in the back of the room, I had people coming at me talking about, well, you trying to take over our heritage. Somebody from Morocco thought we was trying to take over their heritage. Sir, you're not even paying attention. So come to the front of the room so we can make this clear. The people, those melanated elite Moors running the United States of America, they found a way to get funding on the federal side. And in doing so, they degraded the status of the so-called Indians, or the original people of the land. Well, why would they do that? Well, because they get funding if these are so-called black people or colored or Negro. And not only that, but you get to treat them however you want to treat them, because those statuses are lowered. That means they're less protected. That means you have to give them less funding because they're black. Meanwhile, watch this now. Let's say it's $1 million you get for each person. It's more than that now. But let's say it's $1 million you get for each person. If you call yourself black, I only had to give you like 2,000 of that. You call yourself black, I don't even have to give you much of anything, because I do have to treat you. I do have to, give you some kind of rights or protection, but I don't have to do a whole lot. And then I give you $200 or $2,000. I keep the rest. Meanwhile, if you are considered white, you get a little bit more access to that $1 million. If you are indigenous or Indian, on their little, whatever the United States of America, SF 181, this is what I'm talking about. So for those of y'all who know, SF 181. So if you are of that status, indigenous or Indian, then you get land, you get reservations, you get stipends, because you have a little higher status. But that's not what they gave them. They gave them a lowered status. Not only that, these elite Moors, they eventually started to enslave the original people of the land. That's what's going on. So here you got the so-called Indians who are saying, hey, you didn't include us in the peace and friendship treaty. That's because they had degraded you, Indians. All right, let me continue. But we, the Indians, were disappointed finding ourselves not involved in that peace accord according to our expectations, for we thought that its conclusion would have promoted a friendship between the United States and the Indians, and that we might enjoy that happiness that formerly subsisted between us and our elderly brethren. We have received 2 very agreeable messages from the 13 United States. We also received a message from the king, whose war we were engaged in. They were fighting in these people's war, desiring us to remain quiet, which we accordingly complied with. That sounds like this reminds me of when Barack Obama got in the office and all the melanated people was like, all right, we ready to get hooked up now. They gonna hook us, he gonna hook us up. We gonna be great. And then he got in the office and it wasn't greater. There's more problems. During the time of the tranquility, we were deliberating the best method we could to form a lasting reconciliation with the 13 United States. Please, at the same time, we thought that we were entering upon a reconciliation and friendship with a set of people born the same continent with ourselves. Now, by the way, let me say this again. You can get these documents at unarepublic.com/docs. You can come in here and there are 5 different documents, all right? I'm just reading through some of it. I won't read the whole thing. But here is another set of documents. Now, okay, I was wondering why I didn't see all of it. But, so, brethren, we still are of the same opinion as to the means which we may tend to reconcile us to each other. We are sorry to find, although we had the best thought in our minds during the before mentioned period, mischief have never things happened between you and us. We are still anxious of putting our plans of accommodation into execution. We shall briefly inform you of the means that seem most probable to us of effecting a firm and lasting peace and reconciliation. The first step towards which should in our opinion be that all treaties carried with the United States on our part should be with the general voice of the whole Confederacy, and we did everything in our power. Okay, at the Treaty of Fort Hanwicks to induce you to follow this plan. All right, so I'm going to stop there. But I wanted to give you an idea of what's happening, all right? You've got the original people who are reaching out to the United States of America, this so-called Continental Congress, and they're saying, hey, we'd like to have a peace and friendship here because, you know, you guys have made some kind of agreement with Britain, and you've left us out. All right, then this document goes on to talk about all of the treacherous things, how they were killing up the Indians and just doing things that are taking up land that had not been promised. So you got to understand now who is doing this. These are brown people who are saying, hey, we're over here. Do you see us? We're trying to be peaceful. And the people who are running the United States of America are Moors. We know this because we know about the presidents before George Washington. George Washington didn't create this. And by the way, George Washington wasn't even Albion. He wasn't. He's a melanated person. He was a Moor. Even though Moor has nothing to do with skin color, we're going to get in that in a second. But now you see these Indians speaking out. You hear the ancestors speak in this document that you can go and pull down for yourself. All right, let me continue. Because we have people who still, thank you, Savvy. We have people who still want to say that, oh, well, the United States didn't get created until 1789. It wasn't ratified until, okay. So we went through the Declaration of Independence already. We've gone through the Declaration of Independence, and we have read the Declaration of Independence. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Declaration of Independence. And all right, so the reason why we want to do this is because I basically need to show you so that it's not something you just heard Diva say and Diva said it. No. I need you to see it for yourself. The fact that in the Declaration of Independence, it's establishing that there is a United States of America. That's when it was created, in the Declaration. I'm declaring that the United States of America, blah, blah, blah. That's what declarations do. They declare what is to be, what the law is. And we've gone over this already, but in that declaration, it clearly states the United States of America all right, let me see if I can find it right here. because I wasn't going to go through the Declaration of Independence, but I just need to show you that part so that it's clear that in 1777, there we go. In 1777, the United States of America was being established. Savvy, put this on the screen for me. All right, so we see right here. Let me scroll up here to the top. Here at the top, Declaration of Independence, and this is 1776, July 4th, 1776 in Congress. Now, it's clearly stating down here, we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assemble, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions. Once again, your intentions. We're declaring our intents. This is what it is going to be. Do in name and authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. Once again, I told you that this declaration is where each state became its own country. And this was a hostile takeover whereby they were telling Britain to get out. You no longer have the authority to get any money from this place because they are free of your rule and authority. This is what happened with the declaration. So now we getting it. All right, we up to speed on this. We're recognizing that, okay, now here, you know, the states have become independent. Every state is its own country. And Britain is not happy about this because they have been taken out of commission. They've been kicked out from their own territories. All right. So I need to go here. I need to understand who these people are. Who these people are. Now, they're pretty much fighting with Britain. But how do we establish who they are? We're going to get into it using names in a few minutes. But I want to establish the fact that these people are not of the land known as the Americas. Once again, I want to establish the fact that these elite Moors who are running the United States of America, these melanated people, are not the original people of this land called America. So in this document, it says, nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. I know they use the term brethren a lot. Okay, but let's keep going. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarranted jurisdiction over us. We are not under your authority, is what they're saying to Britain. We told you to stop, leave us alone, and now we're kicking you out. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. Once again, just in case you didn't see it, let me zoom in on this. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration. This means they're not from the country. They're not from this land. They're from somewhere else. We immigrated here. They told you right there. They're not of this land. And settlement here. I'm not making this up. This is in the Declaration of Independence. They just told you we immigrated and settled here. Stop trying to rule over us. We're not under your jurisdiction. We have appealed to their native justice. Like we from the same source. Don't you have any love for the people who look like you and come from you? And magnanimity. magnanimity. And we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred. We related. We kinfolk. To disavow these usurpations, stop trying to steal our authority, is what they're saying, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. So what was happening is Britain wants to come in here and control how they're communicating with each other. This is why the post office is so very important. And if you don't tamper with mail, just messing with somebody's mail gets you thrown in prison, not jail, prison for years. It's a serious thing, and they know that. Again, these are elite Moors. They know law. Not like these Moors today. No, they can't apply knowledge that they don't have. All right. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. Okay. Kinfolk. Ballard says kinfolk, please. Kinfolk, kindred, meaning of the same bloodline or lineage. But let me make this clear, Balance and everybody else. All skinfolk ain't kinfolk. We got two brown people in here. One of them running the United States of America, kicking Britain out. The other one were the original people of the land. I need to go down to the bottom of this because I need y'all to take a look at who signed this. Who signed this? Hancock, Bartlett, Whipple, Thornton, Payne, Jerry, Adams, Hopkins, Ellery. Excuse me. Hold up. 1 second, please. What happened to these people? Hold on. The Chippewas and the Ottawas. Where are they? You mean to tell me you did something concerning the land and you didn't invite these people here, the Hurons and the Delawares and the Taiwanese and what happened to the Wardrop and the Cherokee? Why they not in the meeting? Why they not signing this document? Because if this document had to do with land, which it really doesn't, it has to do with the people. But where are the original people on this document? Anybody? Are y'all seeing this? Is anybody seeing this, or is it just Diva Lyri? Because I get tired of people coming at me because you didn't take the time to read these documents and understand what's going on. These people not calling themselves Moors, by the way, in this document. They are Moors, but they're not calling themselves Moors. But we're going to get into some other documents because we're going to go into the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Okay, we're going to go into that later. What we have just established here now is that there's two groups of melanated people. One of them are not from the land. Those so-called Moors that was running the United States of America, they don't even have the name of the original people of the land. They signed a document concerning the United States of America and the colonies. It's really concerning the people, not really the land. The only people who have the right to deal with the land are the original people of the land. That's the Chippewas, the Ottawas, the Cherokees. Not these people. These people are immigrants. They just told you that. They settled here. Okay? Who don't know that? These are two melanated groups. I hope I drilled that so deep into your skull. You wake up in sweats. Go, oh my God. Oh my God. Whew. Two melanated folks fighting. Yeah. It's going on till this day because it's still a spiritual battle. Okay, let me continue. And if you have any questions, put your comments in the comments section because I'm going to get to them before I get out of here because I got time today. Okay, let's go on to the next thing that I keep hearing people say to me, and they're not understanding what's going on. So we know that the United States of America was started in 1776 with this declaration. And it was ratified in 1777 because of this declaration. There was a constitution in 1776 that was ratified, and it said it had a nobility clause. I need everybody Again, if you're in here, please take notes. The original 13th Amendment was a nobility clause that said if you are Duchess, King, Queen, Prince, whatever, princess, you cannot be president of the United States, because these people, these original elite Moors, they didn't want to have any royalty, because they know once royalty gets into the presidency, it's a wrap forever. They're going to forever control it. That's why I've told you, from George Washington all the way down to Obama, they are related by blood. Britain has been running this thing since George Washington. Okay, so let's get into this. Revolutionary War goes on. These elite Moors end up kicking Britain out, but Britain knows how to infiltrate things from the inside, and that's what they did with George Washington. This is why you think George Washington was the first president when he was not. There was several before him, at least 6. Okay, so now, what does George Washington bring in when he comes in? Now, they had been working on this peace and friendship treaty. I need to get into this, because this is where Morocco comes in, another set of melanated people coming from the northern part of Africa. Now, this is the Moroccan Empire, not to be confused with today's Morocco, which is the state of Morocco. We're going to get into that in a few minutes too. But we got Morocco and comes in, and let's understand this, because I get this whole thing about, Morocco was the first nation to recognize the United States. Let's be clear. Let's be 100% clear. It wasn't Morocco's recognition that caused the United States independence. As a matter of fact, the United States of America didn't want any business dealings with Morocco at all. They ignored Morocco. They snubbed Morocco. As a matter of fact, Morocco had to keep writing. We are the magnanimous Morocco. We've been sending you emails and letters, and nobody's responding. It was one of the delegates who was supposed to be responding to them, and they never responded because they wanted to do business with France. They wanted to do business with France. This is why, everybody, go look up the Treaty of Paris, 1783. That's when the United States got its independence, not because of Morocco. They didn't want no business with Morocco. 1783, they had the Treaty of Paris, and it'll tell you, well, that's when they got their independence. Well, then, Diva, why they signed the Peace and Friendship Treaty? Well, after the United States of America kept snubbing Morocco, and then they got that 1783 treaty with Paris, well, Morocco's like, okay, okay, so you're gonna be like that, okay. You see American ship seize it, and then I need, once you seize it, take everything off of those ships, and we're gonna sell that. So sell everything, and get, well, what about what you want us to do with the sailors? Keep them, put them in jail, put them in prison, hold on to them. So they're not gonna pay us treaty, they're gonna snub us like that. Okay, fine, then take everything. And that's what they did. And what happened was Morocco brought the United States of America to its knees. They couldn't trade. They couldn't bring in money. They couldn't do anything. They were stealing all the merchandise from the ships and selling it or keeping it and kidnapping their people. You got the people over here in the United States of America. They crying out, well, we're going to bring our peoples home. Kind of like they were doing with Brittany Griner. But it was worse, because it was a lot of them. They was like, they kidnap us, but do something. Everybody want to think it's just a peace and friendship treaty was just, Morocco was trying to be nice. No, Morocco wanted money. Money. That's what it's all about. That's the only reason why they were inviting all of these other nations to be a part of their port, so the nations can pay them tribute without them having to go to war. They wanted money without having to fight so much. That's what it was all about. And so the United States didn't want to do business with them. They did business with Paris. And shortly after that, that's when Morocco seized their ships. And then you got the Peace and Friendship Treaty happening in 1786, about 3 years after that. Yeah. But they want to tell you, no, Morocco was a friend to the United States and the Indians. No, they're not. They weren't. They weren't. And y'all want to run around here calling yourselves Moors. Let me be clear. The Moroccan Empire doesn't exist anymore. Ooh, 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 shots fired. Pow! It does not exist anymore. You're talking about the state of Morocco today that is not the same as the Moroccan Empire. So if you're telling me the Moroccan Empire exists, where is its sultan? Where is its landmass? Where is its governmental organization? Where do I go and get a passport for this nation that I can't seem to find? Pow. So I need to go into this about what happened with Morocco, and we see this. You go and look at Moroccan Empire's Moroccans, the Moroccan Embassy website, and it's telling you how they were snubbed by the United States, and that they kept sending notices, and then finally they got a response, and the response was, well, we good. We're gonna do business with France. And so Morocco seized their ships and they forced the United States of America into the Peace and Friendship Treaty. They forced that. So, but this whole notion that this is the longest existing treaty between who? That was the Moroccan Empire that created that treaty between the United States of America. The Moroccan Empire doesn't exist anymore. Where is its landmass? Where is the Sultan? Where are the people? Okay. But when you're talking about Morocco today, that's a whole nother entity that didn't come about to 1956. I hope we're clear on this, peoples. We should have been told this history, but somebody has been lying to you about it. They want you to hold these Moors in high esteem when there was a couple of different groups of Moors. You got your British Moors, you got your Moroccan Moors, you got these Moors in here running the United States of America, but they don't call themselves Moors because they know better. They trying to get the land, and I need to get into that because we're going to go into the Civil War era. This is in the mid 1800s, and I need you to understand that the Civil War era, it was really about legal wars. Legal wars. What does that mean? This is the United States taking everybody to court so they can get land. And we're going to get into some documents so that we can understand what's going on. Now, I need to get into, before I go into that, the difference between Moor and Moor, M-O-O-R versus M-U-U-R, and a lot of people get upset. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't do stuff, put information out for clickbait, all right? I don't put stuff out because I just want to make people upset. That's not what I'm here to do. My job is to give you the truth and the facts, this information. But when I start talking about Moor, oh my goodness, I get people living in Morocco on my page, and I get all these people calling themselves Moors on the page. And that's not true. You know what? Let me pull the document up. No need to fuss about it. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. Peace and Friendship Treaty. Okay, so let's start with this. Put this on the screen for me, Sally. All right. This is the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1787. We can see it here. I just need, let me start at the top real quick. To all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America in Congress assembled. Once again, this is before Washington, 1787. He was in the mix though. George Washington was definitely in the mix. And he is one of the people who played a role in bringing this Peace and Friendship Treaty, because remember, Morocco was working heavily with Britain. They were in bed together. And I say that, and I mean it, because they do political favors for each other. If one needs a favor, Morocco gonna step up for Britain. And at this time, Washington was in the mix with his army. He was a general or somebody high in the army at this time. And he was making a lot of moves concerning politics. So the United States of America and Congress assembled by their commission bearing date the 12th day of May 1017, and 84 thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson their ministers plenipotentiary, giving them or a majority of them full powers to confer, treat, and negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco, concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, to make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting to the United States in Congress assembled for their final ratification, and by one other commission bearing date the 11th day of March 1785, did further empower the said minister or plenipotentiary plenipotentiary. All right, I'm hooked on phonics. Or a majority of them by writing under the hand and seal to adopt such agent and said business. Okay. Hold on. It's going on 1785. I want to get to this. This is a treaty, peace and friendship established between us and the United States of America. Who is us? Us is Morocco. Hold on. Let me make sure we're clear on this. Us is Morocco. That's all it say right there, Morocco. To all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America and Congress assembled by their commission bear the date of whatever that date is, thought proper to constitute Adam, confer treatment. Okay. I'm trying to see transmitting the United States in Congress assembled for final ratification, one of the commission. All right, we're going through all this, but us is Morocco, as it's stated at the top, between us and the United States of America, which is confirmed and which we shall have ordered to be written in the book and sealed with our royal seal at our court of Morocco. Once again, hold on, can I highlight that? I can't highlight it, but court of Morocco in the 25th day of the blessed month of page 2. And if you don't have a peace of friendship treaty, you can pull this down too. Peace of friendship treaty. I need to get into this term more and understand what it deals with. In any legal documentation, trusting in God, it will remain permanent. All right. We declare that both parties have agreed that this treaty consisting of 25 articles shall be inserted in the books and delivered to the Honorable Thomas Barclay. Okay. Article 2, if either of the parties shall be at war with any nation, whatever, the other party shall not take a commission from the enemy, nor fight under their colors. All right, I need to go down here. I'm going to go down here to more, because I need to understand what more is. Notice, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to go back up because I want you to notice how everything deals with at sea or a ship or sending something on a boat. Just watch. If any more shall bring citizens of the United States or their effects to his majesty, the citizen shall immediately be set a liberty and the effects restored. In like manner, if any more, not a subject of the dominion, shall make prize of any citizens of America. So basically, we're understanding that anytime you see this term more, it deals with somebody who's of Morocco, a person who is from or of or a citizen of Morocco. Not a subject of the dominion shall make prize of any citizen of America. Are we understanding this, people? Are we understanding that more deals with Morocco? This needs to be made clear because more is a legal title to this day. Anytime you're talking about more, first of all, you're dealing with Morocco. Second of all, let's go back up here. Anytime we talk about somebody coming from Morocco. Article 4, a signal or pass shall be given to all vessels belonging to both parties by which they are to be known when they meet at sea. This is mostly talking about seafaring people. And if the commander of a ship of war of either party shall have other ships under his convoy, the declaration of the commander shall alone be sufficient to exempt any of them from examination. If either of the parties shall be at war and shall meet a vessel at sea, once again, I need to state this. Remember, more means, it came from the term moored, M-O-O-R-E-D or M-O-O-R-I-N-G, whereby these are people who do a job concerning a ship. They're doing jobs on a ship. The vast majority of these Moors were melanated, as we've said again. They were melanated. But that term was not given to Moors as a term of endearment. It was an insulting term. Belonging to the other is agreed that an examination to be made, it shall be done by sending a boat, once again, a boat to 2 or 3 men only, and if any gun shall be bred and injury done without reason, the offending party shall make good all damages. Okay, so the point here is to understand that, when we're talking about more, we're talking about people who were of Morocco, and most of this has to do with ships and sailors and pirates. If any vessel of the United States shall meet with a disaster at sea and put into one of our ports, all right, more stuff about the sea. If any vessel of the United States shall be cast on shore or any part of our coast. So the other thing that I need to make clear, this peace and friendship treaty does not deal with land at all. It doesn't deal with land. All this is talking about is the people who reside in each territory. So if you are a Moor and you go to the United States and you do something, or if there's an issue, then you are under the jurisdiction of Morocco, so bring you back. If you are here in Morocco and you are a citizen of the United States of America, then you do something or whatever, you're under their jurisdiction, we're going to send you back over there. We're going to deport you. That's what that means. So it needs to be made clear that this has nothing to do with land. All of it has to do with people. Why is that a big deal? I'm going to show you in a second, because as I told you, when we're talking about land, only the original people have the right to sign anything concerning land. All right, going into this term more. If we shall be at war with any Christian power and any of our vessels sail from the ports of the United States. Now, in most cases, people at this time, in this age, when you said Christian, you meant Albions. I'm going to say it again because somebody's not getting it. In this day and time, in most cases, when they said Christian, they were talking about Albion or light-skinned people. If we shall be at war with any Christian power And before I go into that, I'm going to show you how we know this. A lot of people are not aware that the original slaves in America were Albions. And at some point, Albions started taking over the country, and then they created this law whereby if you were a so-called Indian or a melanated person, but in particular Indians, they couldn't own so-called Christian slaves. Look it up. Look it up. Those were the Albion slaves. They called them Christians. It was like, you can't, if you are an Indian, and then there was a few melanated groups who couldn't own so-called Christian slaves. That was these laws that they put into place to protect your Albions. Okay, if we shall be at war with any Christian power and any of our vessels sail from the ports of the United States, no vessel belonging to the enemy shall follow until 24 hours after the departure of our vessels. And the same regulation shall be observed towards the American vessels sailing from our ports, be the enemy Moors or Christian. Notice we're talking about three groups here: the Americans, the Moors, and the Christians. So it says, and the same regulation shall be observed towards Americans sailing from our ports, meaning if you coming from our ports, nobody's going to be following you, whether they Moor or Albion, so-called Christian. So when you're talking about Moors, you're talking about Morocco. I just need that to be made clear. But you read this for yourself. If any warship, again, we're talking about more about ports, the ships of war. If a ship of war, listen, all of this is talking about sea. So let me say this again. You're talking about Morocco. You're talking about, and you're calling yourself a Moor. First of all, Moor is a maritime term. Maritime term, what does that mean? That means of the sea. And if you're talking about you are something of the sea, then you can't own land. You have given up your title with that title, Moor. Let me carry on, because I need it to be understood why this contract better not be dealing with land. I need it to be understood. Once again, Article 21, if any citizen of the United States should kill or wound what is this term? Can y'all see this? And anybody see this? Hold on, let me zoom in. Can you see that? What do that say? Hold on, go scroll down. There we go. What does it say? If any citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor. If you are a Moor, you are not an American. Choose one. Not according to this document. Or on the contrary, if a Moor, meaning somebody from Morocco, shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice shall be rendered. Okay, hold on. This is what I want to look at. I want to look at page 5. Who signed this document? We see Thomas Barclay down there. We see his signature is on there. His name is on there. Let me see. We see Barclay. We see John Adams. We see Thomas Jefferson. Wait a minute. Treaty with Morocco 17. Hold on. Something's missing. Where are the original people? Where hold on, excuse me. Where are these people? Why don't I see Delawares or Ottawas or Chippewas or Potawatomis or Twatawanis or Cherokees, and where they at? Where's the Wabash? You hold on, you go into an agreement with Morocco and the United States of America concerning the land. Well, this better not be about the land, because then that means this contract is null and void. This is about the people. That's all it's about. But if you want to see a contract about the land, go, hold on. I can show you better than I can tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Show you exactly where to go. Right here. If you want to see a contract about the land, Iroquois Confederacy, unarepublic.com/docs, DOCS, unarepublic.com/docs, DOCS. Iroquois Confederacy, that's one document dealing with land. If you want to see other documents dealing with land, this treaty right here, all these treaties, Treaty of Easton, Treaty of that other one that was in the document, Sandwich, Great Treaty of 1772, all of these come before 1777. The vast majority of them do. Deed and trust from the Five Nations of Indians, 1726. The treaty held in the Indians of the Six Nations, 1742. Here, 1744, 1752, 1754, 1760. All these treaties, read them in their entirety. Don't let somebody give you a synopsis of, well, you know, this is what it meant. I'm going to show you why that's a problem. You don't want to be listening to people's synopsis. You want to hear the ancestors speak. Go read those documents in their entirety. In those documents, each and every last one of them, I've read them in their entirety. And when you read them, what you're going to find is that the original people said, we don't give up title to our land. We will pay you tribute. We'll pay you taxes. But the land is to stay in the name of our descendants forever and ever, ever, and ever, ever. Go and look them up. And they are still in existence to this day. They still stand. I did some research and homework for you. Go and look it up. Use the information. Thank you, Savvy. So now we are understanding what has happened, that we've got 4 different groups of people right now in this land that have been fighting over this land. You now understand, you've seen legal documentation here today that tells you what the term Moor meant. And it shows you the fact that all these Moors and everything they're talking about dealt with sea, boats and ships and waters and everything dealing with something other than land. And so you understand why they were called Moors. We've already explained it to you, and then I've shown you proof and evidence of it. And anytime you find the term Moor in any legal documentation, it's going to tie back to Morocco, and it's going to deal with people who did jobs on a ship, as in seamen and pirates and land-stealing thieves. All right. I hope that I beat that in your brain too. And I want to go into some other things that are concerning about people calling themselves Moor and calling this land Morocco. Now, as I've said several times, the only people who have a right to make any contracts with this land known as the Americas are the original people of this land, period. The original people of this land. That would be the melanated people who running around calling themselves Black, African, Negro. Here's the problem, original people. Every time you open your mouth, you write a contract. Every time you open your mouth, you write a contract. And these people are going to hold you to it. This is why you can't get your land back, because you keep calling yourselves things that degrade you, that lower your status. You don't have any legal authority to be requesting anything because you're still asleep. If you want to wake up, come to the front of the room and pay attention. Pay attention. Thank you for that, Elkie Man. So Elkiman asked me, could I explain more? All right. MUUR is what he's asking about. So let me say this again. More, as we already understood, he's dealing with sea, ships. All right, Morocco. That is a legal title now. It belongs to Morocco, that company called Morocco. People don't understand. Morocco is a title. It is a copyrighted and trademarked title. All right. MUUR, that means those people who came in from Lemuria. Oh, yeah, I want to get into these documents. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Thank you for that question. I really, really appreciate it. Hold on for 1 second. When we're talking about Lemuria, this was a land known to have existed before the flood. All right, before the so-called flood of the Bible, of the deluge. And these people existed in this land called Lemuria. Now, why was it called Lemuria? Because they had a lot of lemurs, the little monkeys with the big eyeballs. Yeah, they had a lot of lemurs on this land. But at that time, they could walk across the land from wherever Lemuria was to the Americas. And these were melanated folk, big melanated peoples. And so what ended up happening, according to my research, is when the flood came, this land went underwater, and then they ended up traveling into what's known as the Americas today. They're called Moors. One of the oldest known living people would be your Washita MUURS. Thank you for this question. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Why is this an issue? I need to go into this document, and it is called The Heirs of Henry Turner versus, 1 second. The Heirs of Henry Turner, United States of America versus the Heirs of Henry Turner. And I need to go into this, because when I first read this, I was clueless about what was going on, just like most people. But this guy sends me this synopsis. Okay, so here's what happens. Hold on. Remember this when I tell you this, because everything is law and everything is legal. Okay, everything is law and everything is legal. The original people already have all of these treaties that have been set down. And the deal is that you've got the United States came in, you can see right here this title, United States versus Turner. This was, and note this date, mid-1800s. Notice the date. So around this time, this is when the United States was trying to sue everybody to get land. And they also, it includes that they sued the French. Remember, the 1850s also is that time of Reconstruction, that Reconstruction era where they started rewriting history as well. So, but let's take a look at some things now, because remember, the United States of America Republic is a corporation. It's an organization created by, once again, elite Moors, melanated folks. And they had learned how to get funding on the federal side. Well, here's the United States trying to go after a whole lot of different people to get land. And they sued this Turner, Henry Turner, in efforts to take control of land that he had control of. Now, I'm going to tell you something. And I told you, for me, I like to read original documents. And I can't tell you how I could not find this original document anywhere on the web. I'm still searching, but I went through a lot of things to try to find this document on the web. But I could only find like this court case or this synopsis here. But I do want to go into some things that they said, which help you to understand these people not telling you the darn truth. All right, so it says, this was a petition filed in the district court by the appellees who claimed a tract of land under the Maison Rouge grant, page 52. The district court decided in favor of the petitioner, and the United States appealed to this court. Mr. Chief Justice Taney delivered the opinion of the court. He says, this appeal from the decree of the District Court of the United States of the District of Louisiana, the proceedings were instituted by the appellees against the United States, according to the Acts of Congress, May 28th, June 17th. And they claim title to a parcel of land in the state of Louisiana under an instrument of writing executed by the Baron of Carondelet, all right, in 1797, in favor of the Marquis Maison Rouge, the conveyance by which they deduced title to themselves from him are set forth in the petition. All right, this case turned altogether on the district court upon the construction and effect of the document above mentioned, and this is the only question arising in this appeal. Okay, so the appellates insist that this instrument of writing conveyed to the Marquis de Maison Rouge either the legal or equitable title of the 30 superficial leagues of land described in the plan of Trudeau annexed to the instrument. But the question which they propose to raise has already been decided. All right, I need to skip down. The instrument under which they claim title under the consideration of this court, in the case of the United States versus King and Cox. In the last mentioned report, it will be seen at the construction and effect of this instrument was at the time directly before the court, and the decision of the case depended upon it. The question was then fully and carefully examined and considered, and the court held that this instrument of writing conveyed no interest in the land to Maison Rouge and his private property, and that it was intended merely to mark out by certain and definite boundaries the limit of establishment he was authorized to form according to the stipulation of a previous contract which held and entered into the Spanish government with the Spanish government in 1795, and as regarded that previous contract, the court said, okay, now let's read what the court said. It will be observed that this contract contains no stipulations in favor of Maison Rouge. All the engagements on the part of the government are in favor of the immigrants who should accept the conditions. Now, this thing is saying immigrants, meaning that whoever this case was, hold on. Okay, this is King and Coates. King is an immigrant who should accept the conditions. So what I'm trying to say to you is, these people who are coming over here to get land, they are truly immigrants. They're not of this land. In this case, it was King and Cox, but I need to see if I can find that part. Let me see. The intention to grant as a private property was always indicated in clear and appropriate words which severed the land. Okay, I need y'all to understand what's going on here. Those who were running the United States of America, they had given parts of the land to other people, or in some cases, people just came and took the land, but these were Moors who was doing this. And then you got to understand, look at this, watch this now. And I know I'm going deep, but y'all got to understand what happened. Y'all got to understand this history. By the time 1850 rolled around, the Queen of England was fully running the United States of America. Those Moors, they had started to lose their power in government. Watch this now. Watch this. Pay attention. You all know about those mass lynchings of all those melanated people in the Americas. Notice when that happened. In the mid 1800s is when that took place. And you got to understand, those were not so-called slaves or regular, everyday so-called black people. No, those were Moors that they were hanging. Y'all need to pay attention. This is when, and I want to thank everybody for the love. Let me take a break because I'm Stein, thank you for the love. RD said, I'm here in the front row. All right. Thank you all so much. Nuxia, thank you for the love. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. And again, if you have any questions, Kiss, thank you. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section so I can get to you guys. I'm just taking a break. Our topic today is debunking the Moorish lies. And again, I know I'm going hard on, some of these things we've been told, but you've got to know the truth, and it is not pretty. There's a lot of melanated people in here fighting, and a lot of people today are lying to you about what happened, and I'm going to break it down, okay? Ebony, thank you for being here. Hello, beautiful soul, Diva Lyri. You will be, let me see, you will be so kind and explain where did the people that has the last name Moorish come from? Thank you, Ebony. And I'm going to go through that in a second. All I would like to know is, why did whites take out their revenge on American Indians, even though it was the Moors that enslaved the whites for centuries? Okay, you just answered your question, Devonna. Legal, I'm going to go into that question too. I'm going to answer that question. Elkie, man, glad to have you. Balance, Legal, TT. All right. Thank you all for being here. Let's go on this. Okay. So we got to recognize that at this time, there were Moors who were running the United States of America, and they had begun to lose their power. So when the Spaniards came in and other people came in, you gotta recognize they couldn't just enslave these people. At this time, they came in and they said, listen up, this is the mid-1800s. You're either going to turn over your land and all your wealth and riches, or you're going to die. And some of them refused. And so they were hanged. They were hung or hanged. That's who was being hung. So people are telling you, well, you can pick up a melanated person and you can just enslave them. Well, then you got to ask yourself, who is hanging all these slaves that they want? These people they want to tell you they're slaves. Who's hanging all these people? Whose slaves are these that these people are hanging? That's a lot of slaves to be mass hanging. Why you didn't just put them into slavery? You got to ask yourself that question. And the reason why you're not going to get a good answer is for the simple fact that these were not your regular melanated people. They were Moors who had knowledge of law. You just can't enslave somebody who has knowledge. You got to kill them. Period. And that's what they did. And this is when the Moors really started to lose it all. And so what happens is now Britain is trying to really reel in control of the Americas. But the problem is that these Moors had established a situation where all of these individual states were their own country. All of the individual states were their own country, and that was a problem. So this is why you have in 1781, or excuse me, 1871, with the Act of 1871, they created a fraudulent corporation called the United States, which only has jurisdiction in Britain. That's it. No place else. It only has jurisdiction in Washington, D.C. No place else. Just Washington, D.C. Because Washington, D.C. is not even a state. Washington, D.C. is its own separate territory. It's not a part of the United States of America at all. What you talk about, Diva? Because it's on the land. I know, because I went up there, and my cousin, uncle, sister, brother, he lived in Washington, D.C., and we be in Washington. No, it's not a part of the United States of America. It's a separate territory. And in that territory is where Britain established the United States Corporation. And let's understand that the United States is not the only place they've done that. They did it in Australia, they did it in New Zealand, and they've done it in other places where they'll set up a fraudulent organization that sounds similar to the real government. And then they trick the people into pledging allegiance to this fake, fictitious, dead corporation. And the people don't know. And then people like me come in and try to tell you, and y'all like, no, she don't know what she's talking about. But I'm telling you, this is the law, and you need to understand it, melanated people who are asleep, so that you don't keep giving away your inheritance that was given to you by your ancestors. Pay attention. So, again, at this time, you got your Moors who have been hung because they wouldn't give up their wealth. And you've got to understand now, Britain comes in here with the Act of 1871, and they create this fraudulent organization. And in creating this fraudulent organization, now they got to find a way to get this territory back so that they can control it. And this is when you got the civil wars. Remember, civil meaning law. These are just wars that are happening in courtrooms. That's what civil means. All of these United States coming after everybody trying to take the land. Well, this is, the United States was going after Henry Turner and his family. Now, let me see, because I had this guy to send me a document. Let me see. I want to find this person. I'm going to go into the Treaty of Madrid, and then I'm going to take some questions. I want to find this. Let's see if I can find this, because in here, you guys have heard of the names Day, Bay, El, Muhammad, Ali. There was a court case called the heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States, or the United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner. Well, in this document, here it is. Put this on the screen for me, Savvy. All right. So in this court case, I'm going to read this, and we're going to understand the hijack right here, and understand the difference between these two groups of people and why they've got to tie this term M-O-O-R into this term M-U-U-R. They got to tie them in. They got to lie. They have to lie because they, again, these people who created the United States of America, these were Moors. They weren't original to this land. They already told you that. So they don't have any authority or jurisdiction to be doing or making any contracts to the land. But if they can some kind of way tie this garbage M-O-O-R to the original people M-U-U-R, well, then they can say, oh, well, then it's our land, and we can make a contract. Watch this. Pay attention. The court case, the United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner Tunicus case, 32 United States Appellate Court in 1850, was an appeal to an earlier case won by the heirs of Henry Tunica called the heirs of Tunica versus the United States, case 191 in 1848. In other words, on June 6, 1848, a Supreme Court decision read by Theo McCaleb declared that the United States does not own the land of the ancient mound builders of North America, much more than 1 million square miles of land. Watch this now. Pay attention to what they just did. And also, I want to, hold on, before I do that, you see the date. Where's the date? 1850. This is period of Reconstruction. Anything written after the period of Reconstruction, you have to vet it with the finest of vetting. All right? You got to vet that. So here we go. In other words, on June 6, 1848, a Supreme Court read by Theo McCaleb declared that the United States does not own land of the ancient mound builders of North America, much more than 1 million square miles of land, Moors, and then they put in brackets, M-O-O-R-S. These are not the same people. But if I can make you believe that they are, I need you to understand, again, I'm going back to this. There were two groups of people fighting in here, the United States of America, the Moors who were running that in that so-called Continental Congress, and your original people of the land. These people are of Morocco, or melanated group of folks who are from other lands or territory. It could be Morocco, it could be Britain, it could be Algiers, and we're going to find out. So, are the title holders. So they're trying to make Moors the title holders. Why would they do that? Why would Britain, because this is Britain here, all this is Britain, you can call it what you want to. By this time, Britain is fully running every court you got in the so-called United States of America. Britain is running this. But why would they want to make the Moors? Why would they want to give them title? Well, because remember, they're working together, and they're still working together to this day. There are people who are paid to misinform you. And I'm telling you right now, if you are in some kind of Moorish, whatever, and they are incorporated under the United States of America, well, here you go. They're working together. And their job is to make sure you, all your belongings, because they're going to tell you, yeah, you come on over here and we're going to put all your stuff under trust, and it's going to be up under us. And if it's up under them, then it's up under the United States of America. You just went from one umbrella to a worse umbrella. Just pay attention. The titles are El, Bey, Day, Ali, and Al. Now, these two, Bey is from Morocco, meaning Beglave or governor. Day is from Morocco, or excuse me, Algiers, meaning governor. Same thing, Bey Day. One's from Morocco, one's from Algiers. El and Al mean electric or God for electric. Ali, that is a Muslim name. So we're talking someplace other than this land, because we know clearly that these are not the names of the original people. The original people went by these names. Then they come down here translated as the 5 civilized so-called Indian tribes: Choctaw, Washita, Cherokee, Chickasaw, Creek, Muskogee, Seminole, Yosemite. See, what they do is they marry into these families. Pay attention. That whole thing with, what was her name? Pocahontas. And how the guy comes in and marries, and he married in to her so that they can have access to the land. Now he can say, oh, well, this is my land too, because we're family. This is why they got to put this garbage title on the true title dealing with the Washita, M-U-U-R-S, the original people of this land. These people not of this land, we already established that. We already established that they're immigrants. Also, the court declared the lawful landowners are the heirs of Henry Turner. Once again, they got to put this raggedy title. This is not even a real title. Washita, M-U-U-R-S. Who's throwing this title in here? When we have established these people are not of the land. They came in and took over the land, befriended the original people, ignored them, degraded their status, and they eventually put them into slavery as well. Okay? I need to go over this document. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section so I can get to them before I get out of here. There is some so-called Moor who keeps telling me that some kind of way Moors are protected under a Treaty of Madrid. And so he sent me this document and several others. And we're going over them today because I got time today. Right of protection in Morocco. Now, I'm just going to read the highlighted because I'm not going to read this whole document. But right here it's talking about extraterritorial jurisdiction in Morocco relinquished by the United States October 6, 1956. So to my Moors who some kind of way think that some kind of Treaty of Madrid has protection or gives you protection over anything, we can already go through this, and I need you to pay attention. Come to the front of the classroom, because you need to know that there is no protection for you under this document. And this document that he sent me, it's like, do these people even read the documents they sending me? Do y'all even read this? Because I do. And I rip you up with your own documents. So let's go through it. His Excellency, the President of the United States of America. So we're understanding this is the country right here. And what year is this? Let me say this. This is supposed to be something that took place back in 1880, which once again is after that period of Reconstruction. But some kind of way they're putting in these, they're making notes about 1956. And I told you, if there's a document that I'm reading and it comes after mid-1800s, I got to vet that. So he sent this to me, and I haven't had the time to find the original Treaty of Madrid, because I don't, again, I don't, anything coming after that, and they're talking about 1956, then I know that this is not the original document, so I'm not buying it. But this document really does not help him in any way that he sent to me, so I'm gonna beat him down with it. Now, that's my aggression side. I'm sorry, these people come at me, and I have to, that other diva come out. But let me go into this. All right. I need to go through this because there's some things in here. Again, every time I'm seeing these dates, I know this is not the original document because it was supposed to have happened in the 1700s. We were talking about 1776 and 1917. I want to read something that's in this document that I've highlighted. All right. It talks about the Great Britain Command Papers, 1882, British and Foreign State Papers. All right. This one right here. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country and who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco, unless it shall be proved that his naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of the government of Morocco. Okay, so let's understand what this is. This is saying that if you are a citizen, or they call it a subject, but a citizen of Morocco, and you naturalize in another country, as in the United States Corporation, then when you have the choice to choose between whether you're going to submit to the laws of Morocco, at this time, they call it the Moroccan Empire, or no, you can submit to the laws of the country where you are, United States, or let me see, you choose between the entire submission to the laws of the empire. Okay, so yeah, you can either choose to submit to the Moroccan Empire or you can quit it. That's your choice. You got one or the other. So unless it's proved that you obtained this consent from Morocco. All right. And none of these so-called Moors have done that. None of these so-called Moors have gone to Morocco and said, hey, do I have consent? No, they haven't. So a U.S. note of March 17, 1959. This is the dagger for this document. Addressed to the Moroccan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, referred to a note from the minister dated October 8, 1958, in which the embassy had been informed that the Moroccan government had decided to strike all prescriptions relating to Moroccan nationality from the text of the Madrid Convention. The United States Embassy informed that the Moroccan government decided to strike all prescriptions relating to Moroccan nationality from the text of the Madrid Convention. In line with historical development, Article 15 of the Madrid Convention on the Protection of 1880 has become obsolete and without effect. Maybe he didn't read these little notes down here, the little fine print, where it's saying that whole thing about you thinking you protected under the Treaty of Madrid, that's obsolete. It has no effect. The government of the United States takes due cognizance. Now, okay, you said you don't have anything to do with these people over here that are claiming that they're supposed to be protected. Morocco, and now let's understand now, this is in 18, look, pay attention. This is why I make these dates clear. This right here is 1859. This is Morocco, the state of Morocco. This is not the Moroccan Empire, even though when it was created in 17 whatever. But these are two different Moroccos. So you talking about, oh, I protected under the Treaty of Madrid with Morocco. Well, they saying, no, you're not. Protection is, okay, we're talking about protection right here. Protection, it lasts at the longest for a person's lifetime and is never hereditary. Okay, did you hear that? That's another dagger in this document for this guy. It just said it lasts the longest for a person's lifetime. So if your great granddaddy was under this document and this protection, that doesn't give you protection. That gives your great granddaddy the protection, not you, because it's not hereditary. Did you read this document? The single exception of the Benchimol family, that ain't y'all. Because we looked that up. I'm not going through that today. You look up the Benchimol family. The first class comprises natives employed by the legation and the various French consular officers. But basically what they're talking about is who is protected under this agreement. The first dagger is that Morocco is saying we don't all that stuff in there about protection from some people who's we strike that because we're not dealing with that. Secondly, it's telling you it only deals with whoever it was under this agreement for a lifetime, not your great great granddaddy. Not it might have been your great granddaddy, but not you. It's not hereditary. It's told you that. So again, do you read these documents that you're sending to me? The second class consists of native factors. So this is just talking about who is under the protection. Okay, that's one document. I need to go into this because this guy, this is another document that was sent to me by this person. Let's take a look here at what this document is. Case concerning the rights of nationals of the United States of America. I'm going to show you this video, and I want to help you understand why you need to study for yourself, because people are misrepresenting information, and we got to go over this document. All right, people are misrepresenting information, and we are getting ready to go over this document, but I need you to hear how this person represented this document and why you have to learn how to read and comprehend what you're reading for yourself. If I can pull this up, because okay, let me see if I can pull this. So I want, because he sent me all of these videos, right? So it's like, if you're going to send me this, and I've given him the opportunity to present this information himself, but he has chosen not to, so then I'm going in, and I hope he doesn't like it. I'm not concerned. Yeah, this is it right here. Savvy, let me know if you can you hear this okay. Give me 1 second. It's gonna load up, and I'm gonna get to your questions in a second. Thank you guys for joining. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this to load.
Just in case we don't understand what I'm saying, this land is truly Morocco. If we read here, it says the United States of America in Morocco. What the fuck does in mean? That means that in Morocco, United States of America lives. No longer. If you check your map, you will see that Washington, D.C. is no longer there. It's just Washington.
You heard that. He represented that this document, case concerning the rights of nationals of the United States of America in Morocco, deals with, in his mind, that United States is Morocco. Now I don't even want to put words in this man's mouth. Let's listen to this again, as he curses to you, trying to get some kind of emotional reaction. Let me see if I can redo this.
Just in case we don't understand what I'm saying, this land is truly Morocco. If we read here, it says the United States of America in Morocco. What the fuck does in mean? That means that in Morocco, United States of America lives. No longer. If you check your map, you will see that Washington, D.C. is no longer there. It's just Washington.
What did any of that have to do with the fact that he tried to represent Morocco as being in the United States? Hold on, let's go through this, because this is why you got to learn how to read with comprehension and stop regurgitating. He's spamming my box with all of this garbage that he clearly has not read, and if he read it, he didn't read it with comprehension. I need to understand what this case is that he sent, so I read it. Case concerning rights of nationals of the United States of America in Morocco is just what it says. So let me help you understand what it says, and then we're going to go through this document and we're going to read it together and understand what it says. This is a case concerning those who are citizens of the United States of America who are living in Morocco. This is a case concerning the rights of people who are citizens of the United States who are living in Morocco, and this took place in 1952. Remember, this is when the state of Morocco came into effect. Okay, let's go through it and see what it really means, because I highlighted the gist of what it really means. All right, highlight here. Consular jurisdiction in French zone of Morocco as based on bilateral treaties, most favored national clauses, and multilateral treaties. Okay, 1 second. In the case concerning the rights of nationals of the United States of America who are in or living in Morocco. Okay, hold on. Because I did highlight some things. On October 28th, 1950, the Charge d'Affaires AI of France to Netherlands filed in the registry on behalf of the government of the French Republic an application instituting proceedings before the court against the United States of America concerning the rights of nationals of the United States of America in Morocco. The application referred to the declarations by which the government of the United States of America and the French government accepted the compulsory jurisdiction of the court in accordance with Article 36, Paragraph 2 of the court statute. It also referred to the Economic Cooperation Agreement of the June 28, 1948 between the United States and France, and to the Treaty for the Organization of the French Protectorate in the Sheriffan Empire. All right, this is talking about over there in Africa. It's not talking about here in the Americas. All this stuff they're talking about is things that are going on in Africa. So what has happened, pay attention to this now. The Moroccan Empire was taken over and colonized by Spain and then France, or France and then Spain, I don't know which one, but they got into a lot of debt and Britain had to step in and give them a lot of money. And let's be clear, when Britain steps in and gives you money, you got to bend over. I said it, and no pause. When Britain steps in and gives you a lot of money, you've got to bend over. So it mentioned, going back to this, the fact is that all of this stuff is taking place in that land that we know of as Africa today. The Sharifian Empire, that's over there in Africa, so-called Africa. And so what is happening is that they're establishing these laws, and the French are coming in here and they're suing the United States. They're suing the United States, telling them, hey, let me tell you something. Your people, when they come over here, they do not have diplomatic immunity. When your people come here to this land, whether it's Sharifian Empire, Morocco, or whatever you want to call it, They got to abide by the rules of this land. They do not have diplomatic immunity. Let us keep reading so you can see it for yourself. It mentioned the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of September 16, 1836 between the United States and the Sheriffin Empire, as well as the General Act of the International Conference of Algeciras of April 7th, 1906. All right, hold on, because I'm not reading this whole document. You guys can go and pull it down for yourself. I'm reading the applicable information. On behalf of the French government, may it please concern the court to adjudge and declare that the privilege of the nationals of the United States of America in Morocco are only those which result from the text of Articles 20 and 21 of the Treaty of September 16, 1836, and that since the most favored nations clause contained the Article 24 of the said treaty can no longer be invoked by the United States. You do not have diplomatic immunity here. In the present state of the international obligations of the Sheriffin Empire, there is nothing to justify the granting to the nationals of the United States of preferential treatment, which would be contrary to the provisions of the treaties. You do not have diplomatic immunity here. When you come here, you will abide by the laws, period and point blank. This is the same document that guy showing you and cursing about. This is the whatever he said. This is the same document. And it's basically saying, when you come here, you're going to abide by the rules, or we're going to put you in prison like everybody else. This is why you got to learn how to read with comprehension. The nationals of the United States of America and Morocco are subject to the laws and regulations in force in the Sheriffin Empire. Boom! Pow! What else we need to talk about? Thank you, Savvy. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Okay, I think I have shown enough legal documentation. Again, for me, when I'm doing research, I want legal documentation from before the mid-1800s. I want to hear the ancestors speak. I'm looking at scriptures. I'm looking at science. I'm going deep into it. I don't want to hear somebody's synopsis and them put a spin on what the real thing is that happened, like this guy who I just showed you. This guy putting his spin on, oh, that's right, Morocco is in America, saying it with all kind of force and loud and wrong. You can read it for yourself. I want to thank everybody who's taking the time out to pay attention to the information that we're sharing here. Our purpose is not to have division or create a division, but to bring knowledge. You cannot build on lies. You cannot build on lies. We've been running around here, saying the same thing. Why we black folk, we can't come together. We black, we's all black and all that. And not recognizing that guy sitting next to you, who you think is your brother, well, spiritually, he's fighting you. He's not for you. Meanwhile, there's Albion sitting over here. Well, those of us who know, we know. Those of us who've been in trouble and we've had an Albion, they will come to your rescue like nobody else. I'm not saying you can't build with somebody melanated. What I am saying is all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and you better start recognizing people's spiritual energy or you'll never be able to build, period. I'm going to take questions now. Thank you all for joining. I really do appreciate it. I had a couple of questions I'm going to answer. Devorah says, okay, so let me see this. Let me get those one first from Ebony, then I'll get Devorah's. Explain where did the people that has the last name of Morris. Okay, thank you for that question, Ebony. So when you're looking at names like Johnson, Jackson, Jeffries, Jefferson, those are Moorish titles and families. You don't find those in Albion families. When you start looking at those plantation names, Harris and Johnson and Jones, those are Moor names. And so Morris would be a Moor name. I don't know exactly what particular Moor family, but those don't come from the original people of the land. You know what names come from the original people of the land? Shaniqua, Shaquanda, those original people names. That's where those come from. As ghetto as they might sound, those are original people names. So thank you for that question, Ebony. Devorah says, all I would like to know is why whites take out their revenge on the American Indians, even though it was the Moors that enslaved the whites for centuries. Okay, so let's understand this. Moors, yes, they enslaved the Albions. And we don't say whites because we know whites has nothing to do with skin color. That's a status. The original whites were melanated people. We got proof of that. We got factual proof of that. But what happened is that you have your original people in here, so-called Indians that are calling themselves black, Negro, colored, African American, all that. You got them in here, and they are enslaving these Albions. They buying them. So, you you got these Moors of Tunis, Algiers, the United States, people who, these elite Moors in here, they're shipping in these Albion children and enslaving them. Well, that's an energy. So everything you're talking about, when you ask about why are they taking out their anger, everything is an energy. So it was Indians that enslaved the Albion children. There was Moors, the elite Moors running the United States of America. You got some British Moors. They were bringing in some Albions. You got Moroccan Moors. They were bringing in Albion women. As a matter of fact, look this up. The daughters of the American Revolution, they were the concubine to the Moors. They were concubine women. But they want to be an elite group with Hillary Clinton. That they originally were the concubine or sex slaves to the Moorish or the Moors. That's what they were. So a lot of Albion people were enslaved. And then let's understand this. Those elite Moors that were running the United States of America, they started enslaving the original people. They didn't care about skin color. So then when you ask about why the so-called whites or the Albions take revenge, well, it's a spiritual thing. I told you we all spiritual entities up in here. So back then, they was on the bottom. They would get stepped on as slaves. Well, then the tides turn. And now if you want to know who the people were that was enslaving these people and bringing them in and kidnapping them, well, go look in the prison industrial complex. That's where they are. That's your Moors in there. Same spirit, different vessel. That's who they are. Okay. So thank you for that question. But you got to understand this is a spiritual game. And just like I told you, it was two melanated groups of people. Your Moors, the ones who enslaved the original people of the land. All right, they're still fighting. Same spirits. Same spirit. So if I got somebody who in my face and I'm a Moor, and well, okay, I know who you are. Spiritually. I know I can't do business with you because you've made your choice. You've shown what side you on. I ain't saying we enemies, but damn sure we can't be in business together. I'm good on that. Do I have any other questions? Oh wow, Queen of England running USA in mid 1850. Queen of England was running United States of America in 1789 when George Washington first became president. He was a crony. And let's understand this. Again, he was melanated. A lot of people are not understanding that. He was melanated. They want to whitewash him in the books so that we can get rid of this narrative that melanated people were running things up in here. But George Washington all the way to Abraham Lincoln, melanated. They were Moors. And they were direct descendants to the Queen of England. One second. So yeah, George Washington, 1789, he was the first crony to the Queen of England. What about Maine and Massachusetts? I'm not sure. What do you mean, what about them? Are they countries? Yeah, they're countries. I hope that's your question. I'm not sure because you didn't ask me a full question. They're trying to take control of the land. Okay, balance. Thank you for that comment. I need, the reason why this is important is because, again, going back to what a contract is, you melanated people, y'all have so much power that you are not clear of. All right. You are the one who is the controller of the land. And when you can get, when one of them can get you to say something like calling this land Morocco, for example, that is a copyrighted and trademark contract. And if you say it is, then so shall it be, because you are really the gods of this land. You are. And every time you open your mouth, you are creating contracts, and those contracts have energies, and then people hold you to them, and then you go around crying because you don't understand your power in what you have just said. When you call yourself a Moor, that is a maritime product. It puts you further away from this land. You have not honored the mothers when you call yourself a Moor. If you want to honor the mothers of this land, then you need to take on a title of the people of this land. You don't call yourselves a maritime product, and then you got people who are claiming to be leaders, and your so-called black leaders, and they're telling you to call yourself these titles and telling you to call this land a title. And once again, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. They working with somebody else to help you to get you to put your land up under them. Get you to call this land something. And you flying that flag with that green star. That belongs to somebody else. It's copyrighted and trademarked. And if you gonna put it on your land and fly it and put it on your documents and put it on you said that you are subject to those people, and you don't even know who those people are. Morocco, the state of Morocco today, that's a British controlled corporation. The state of Morocco today, that's a British controlled corporation. You just gone from under the United States to another British property. You don't get this game. So don't come at me if you haven't studied and really learned and understood what's going on in the history, in the law, and understand contracts and what's going on a spiritual level. You got to be well-rounded. Just ask me questions. I'll be glad to answer them. But don't come at me. And don't be throwing all these garbage documents up in my face that you haven't taken the time to read, that somebody's misrepresenting to you. Let me go on, Woosai. Honestly, they might be paid agents. Devora, absolutely they are paid. I was running by this this video the other day, this light-skinned guy with long hair, he said, I get paid a lot of money to pretend that I'm the original people of this land. He said, I get paid a lot, as he's stroking his hair, I get paid a lot of money, smoking his peace pipe, to pretend like I'm an original American. We stole your land, he said. We stole your identity, he said. When you decide to wake up and read for yourself, you can take back your land. You can take back your identity, but you got to come out of whatever this religious garbage somebody has told you and be willing to read for yourself. Right now, I'm shaking somebody's whole religious foundation. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. You got to be willing to read for yourself. You got to come out of the religion that somebody told you, oh, well, you more and you proud. Well, be more then. Be more over there. All these documents you sending me trying to, oh, I'm part of Morocco. What Morocco? Moroccan Empire, it doesn't exist. State of Morocco, they don't care nothing about you melanated folks over here calling yourself more. As a matter of fact, you gonna send it over there to them and watch how they treat you. It will not be with love. Like they did in WW2 Casablanca, Balance says. The so-called ghetto names are really American Indian names. Absolutely. My goodness. Now that's something that's definitely new to me. Thank you, Balance. Okay, so let me see what my people in TikTok. What you got? Do you have any questions in TikTok? Before I get out of here, the screen is frozen. TikTok be tripping, but we're gonna make sure we're broadcasting for my TikTok people on YouTube and TikTok and X. So if you ever want to catch us, you'll be able to catch us on one of those sites if anything happens on TikTok. My honey right here. Hey, Red or RD, Ardell. If y'all have any questions, make sure you put them up because I'm ready to get out of here. So they just took our she. New Max, yes, and they're still trying to take your she. So you better get on the ball and learn this information so that you can start standing. All right, kings of the earth versus kings of the water signs. All right. Let's see, Diva, you're a great teacher. Thank you so much, G Jones. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. What are the names of the 7 countries who invaded the United States of America? Benique said that. I can't give you the titles right off, so I'll have to do that on another session. G Jones, thanks for the truth. Thank you, G Jones, for listening. Stein, yes, Mama. All right, Stein. Stein, I be Stein gonna join on me talking about I'm shining. Yes, Stein, I be shining a little bit up in here. Hold on, that's my third eye coming through. I can't help it. G Jones says happy I came in. Okay, I'm sovereign then. Okay, Ardell. 1 second. You did this 5 years ago. See, thank you, Ardell. Ardell says I did this 5 years ago. I did. I've been speaking on this for decades. I've been speaking on this for decades. And I hope you guys are finally getting it. I want y'all to know I really do appreciate you guys for giving me your time today. Please take some time to pull these documents up yourself. Please find us at www.unarepublic.com/DOCS. unarepublic.com/DOCS. Okay, so you can pull down these documents, some of these documents that I went over here, and you can see them for yourself. Okay, please don't let people misrepresent this information. You can't be lazy. If you really want to know the truth, you can't be lazy. If somebody's giving you a synopsis, then you need to go and find the original document. And you want to find documents that came before the mid-1800s, all right? Because that's when you can start listening to the ancestors speak. Anything after that, you know it's been rewritten, you're going to have to vet it, okay? So I want y'all to know I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for your time. We're going to get out of here. We're going to see you next Friday, Diva Lyri. I love you. Give me a hug. Bye-bye. I love you.
You there.